Recently, Taleworld announced that they plan to try to release the game in the first quarter of 2022. Many months back, I was asked in Italian Spartacus's live stream when they announced that they plan to release the game at the end of the fourth quarter of 2021, my thoughts, in which I stated I didn't think that there was any chance that that would happen. I told them it would be probably 8 to 10 months before the game would get done, which at that point would have put it in the first quarter of 2022. And I felt very strongly about that. And months later, that is exactly what Kale World came out and said, that that was their plan to release. Since they announced that they would plan to release it at the first quarter of 2022, I thought once again about what they said. And once again, I came to the same realization. I do not think that they are going to be able to release it by then. And in this video, I'm going to show you examples of why I think that's possible. This is in no way meant to bash Taleworld, talk negative about them. This is just to go ahead and show you guys that this is what's going on with the game. And I think it's going to be more like the mid to late second quarter of 2022, because I just want people to temper their expectations of when the game is going to come out. There are quite a few troops that need some serious rebalancing in the game. Something that hasn't been done in a very, very long time. Or if they do it, they make very minor changes. The one thing that I love to bring up is the Tier 5 Sturgeon Veteran Bowman. If you look at all his stats, all his equipment, he is comparable to a Forest Bandit. That is pretty sad when a Tier 5 troop can be compared to a bandit. And this is only one example of many across all the troops that need some type of rebalancing. They need to really go through this tree because there are some that are a complete waste. And really, all of the archers in Sturgia really need some help. But it is across the board. For the most part, all the troops in the game need to be looked at to see, okay, should we change this or should we change this? Because there are quite a few that are absolutely terrible. And for the people out there that know already, there are a couple that are way overpowered. Right now, armor doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot when it comes to certain types of damages. At the beginning of the game, I could take a certain amount of damage from looters, and if I put on some of the best armor in the game, that number doesn't drop that much. And it seems that getting that heavier armor doesn't really do a whole lot to be able to negate some of those numbers. Now, I know they do have a problem with certain types of damage being calculated incorrectly. One would be blunt damage. But they really need to look at that because armor, while it plays an important role, right now isn't a massive role in which you need to go out and get that best armor, which is what you should do. You should have to go out and get that best armor as quick as you can because it's going to help you so much. But right now, it doesn't really feel like I need to spend that extra 500,000 to get that tier 5 amazing armor when I could just get one that's got 5 or 10 less to each, and I'm not going to suffer that much damage. At one point, Taleworld went absolutely nuts on perks. Every single patch, they were redoing entire trees, redoing perks, adding secondary perks. And then all of a sudden, when they got about 70 to 75% through all the perks, it stopped. They just haven't done anything, and I don't know how many patches it's been. They got most of it done, and it was just like they abandoned it. And that gets you really worried when somebody starts a project, gets near completion, and then leaves it alone. Why was there the need to leave it alone? And not just for a little while, but for many, many months. They have not touched it. They went through excluding smithing and redid every single skill tree. Then they got charm and stopped. It has not been redone. And there are still quite a few perks out there that still have not been redone. In fact, when you go to those perks, you will see not implemented, meaning that they haven't put that extra perk in there yet. And that's the way it's been for many months. And when you start to think about it, why is that? Why would you stop a project you've worked so hard on for so long to get near completion and just abandon it? Caravans are in an absolute disastrous state in the game. Ever since 1.5.7, they have been, for the most part, going downhill ever since. There was one change made by a developer and which he made them run much better. But besides that, they have continuously gone downhill. This is a mechanic in the game that a lot of people like to use. It should be a great way to make some early game money. It's also really beneficial to run them because you can gain so many skills for your character, which helps them in becoming governors later on. But now, especially with death on, you are going to take a serious risk if you run caravans. So the risk of death and making very little profit at this point is an extreme concern. Workshop is a mechanic in the game that virtually everybody uses, especially early on. It's a great way to get you money. I do a workshop video every single patch, and when I get that data, I send that data to Taleworld, and I give them a little report on the state of workshops in the hopes that they would go ahead and adjust things to make the game a little better. When I think about workshops over the past 3 to 5 months, I think of one thing and one thing only. We reduce the profit that wool weavers make. Tanneries, they need work really bad. They've gone to virtually nothing since horses and other animals started producing hides. Velvet and linen, those have also dropped to where they do not make much money. Smithies are in an absolute terrible place right now because the iron ore is so cheap that caravans are buying it up, and therefore they're going idle and not producing, even to a point which is Epicrodia that has 2 villages supplying it with iron. They still go idle because the caravans take it all. With taking wine and oil off as a consumable, it has taken those shops and made them virtually useless. Workshops are making less than they had done at virtually any point in the previous patches. And I have a workshop video up for every patch back to 1.5.7. And if you look at each one, you will see that there are less and less shops making 200 a day each patch. Future content is something that they have communicated a lot since the start of the game, with development update videos that are on Taleworlds' YouTube channel, and also in future plans that are on the Taleworld website themselves. Now, if you look at this straight out, you're going to say it's not a really big issue. However, there is one thing I want to point out. If you go back through the dates of the release of development update videos since release, you will see that they go maybe 2 months in between gaps of having development update videos. This video was published on June 25th. This was the last one that they put out. Development update number 7 was released in February. That means in approximately 7 to 8 months, they have released one update video. That is a telling sign when you go maybe 2 months at most in between videos, and then you only have one in 8 months. What does that tell you? You really don't know. But it could mean that they don't have much more content to put in the game. They're just not communicating with the community on what they have going on. It's hard to tell what it means. But it is a red flag to look at and say something has changed. You might be asking yourself, why is this screen so small? This is the known issues page on Taleworlds' website. You can find this by going to the technical support page, Bannerlord, and then just scroll down and you will see this. These are all the categories of known issues currently in the game. And if you go ahead and you click on one of these, you're going to see each individual one. And let's take character development. Those are all the issues currently with character development. That's just one of the categories. Let's look at clans and parties. Look at all that. That's just 2 categories out of all of these that are known issues going on right now. That can tell you how many bugs and problems are still in the game. And trust me when I tell you, this list is bigger than what it was 6 to 8 months ago. Because they actually put it like this, when before, all the issues just used to be on one page without these spoilers. That's how many issues have been increased over time. Without a doubt, to me, one of the most important aspects of Bannerlord are sieges. It is the biggest way that you are going to gain fiefs. And as anybody knows, sieges are still a huge problem in the game, especially when it comes to siege towers. Their mechanic is really awful. The AI and their pathing is terrible. There are still times in which the AI will not break down the front gates. So there are still a lot of issues, and this is known and has been worked on for I cannot tell you how many months. And while there has been some improvements and some fixes, there is still a lot of work that needs to be done in sieges, as the mechanic itself at times is so broken that I could take an overwhelming force and I can still lose. So when you put it all together, I don't think that they're going to be ready in the first quarter. If you take 1, 2, or maybe even 3 things and put it together, it's not that worrisome. However, I think when you take this list, in which I did not put everything I wanted to put on it, or this video I could have made 30 to 60 minutes long, but you just take the issues that I have raised, and when you add that up, I don't believe that they're 3 to 5 months away from having this game ready to be released, unless they plan on giving a substandard product. So I wanted to release this to show you guys what I see happening in the game right now. And as I said, this is not a bash on Taleworld. That's not what this is meant for. This is meant to just get you guys to temper your expectations that there could be another delay in the game going live. And that is my only intention of this video, is to just inform you of what I see going on. If you have any comments, I would love to hear them. And once again, take care and thanks for watching.